What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I am going to be talking about Manchester United's last game that we went and played, Sheffield United away from home at Bramall Lane. So let's just get straight into today's video. So we made one change from the last game against Brighton and Albion. So we started with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Jones, Williams, Pereira, Fred, James, Rashford and Martial. Overall reaction: what a comeback. What a shame. Get VAR out. I'm going to have a rant about that in a minute. Have United been robbed of a victory? VAR controversy once again. I'm pissed off with that. Showed fight, spirit, heart and character to come back into the game. We've taken 1 point. It's a draw. Not good enough. It is what it is. And we move on. Firstly, let's just dive in straight into it. What did I make of the performance? Overall, on a whole, I think we were good but not good enough. I think we all witnessed that the first half performance was probably the worst so far this season. One of the worst first half performances, really. I just didn't know what was going wrong in that midfield. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that I'm going to go with a back three, but have a back five with Wan-Bissaka and Williams pushed up front, and I'm going to play three defenders. Let's see how we get on. Sheffield, we knew that Sheffield were a very good team. They're a very good team, they're a strong team, very good team. I said it in my last video and I said they come with a game plan, they come with the tactics, and they give you a hard day of work. They really pushed us to our limit. We were 1-0 down in that first half, and we were lucky enough it did not get ugly in that first half, because we could have easily conceded 2 goals in that first half. And we're lucky that they did not score another one. The game was still opened up when they were still 1-0 up in the first half, but first half was atrocious. That midfield was awful. By playing Pereira and Fred, that clearly did not work. People were saying, oh yeah, play Pereira and Fred together, you know, it'd be a great partnership, they're both Brazilian. No, it don't work. It does not work. So you can write that off your list, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for next week against Aston Villa. So you can scrap that for next week. We need to be playing Matic and Fred probably, because Pereira was just shocking. Both of them were shocking, in fact. But that goes to show that we needed McTominay in that game as well. Again, we're lacking on injuries once again, but injuries is not an excuse. You've got to play with the players that you've got. We should be going out there with the confidence and the mentality to go and win these games. In this game, we were just not good enough to get the 3 points. I mean, fucking hell, we did an amazing comeback, and then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wasting time, ticking time down. It brings on another defender, and no one can't understand why he did that, because when you bring on another defender, they're just going to come at us. They were going to score another goal, and they scored the other goal. And I'll get into that later on into this video as well, about this handball as well, which I'm really pissed off at. I'm really pissed off with VAR as well, because we need to scrap this whole thing now. It's killing the sport. But I tell you what, that first half performance was, on a whole, was dreadful. It was poor. That's the first time I've seen United play so poor in the first half against a team that have come up from the Championship as well. We were absolute dog shit in that first half. We were absolute dog shit. We were not good enough in that first half. And if we had a good first half, if we were sort of 1-2 nil up in that first half, we could have easily controlled and dominated that game in the second half. And then if we were 1-0, 2-0 up in the second half, in the first half, and then in the second half we go and get another one, simply just control, dominate them and just make them work. It was a different game, because when they went 1-0, going into the second half, we knew we had to change the formation, we knew we had to change the team up tactically. It brings on Lingard, then we conceded another one. Then you're thinking, right, don't let these heads drop. We need to keep our chins up, keep our heads up, keep going, keep what you're doing, play to our strengths. That's what we did, and that's where he made that instant one change off the bench. Greenwood comes on, changes the whole dynamic in the game. Williams scores 1, Greenwood scores 1, Rashford scores 1. What an amazing comeback. We showed great spirit from the players. They showed a lot of character, a lot of heart, a lot of fight to come back as well. In the end, we weren't good enough, because then we conceded a late goal. That's firstly down to poor defending, and secondly, yes, it might have been a handball. I would not have VAR on your side, because it could go either way. It didn't go our way with that VAR decision, but first half we were dreadful overall. Second half, I don't think we were fantastic at the start because we came out, we thought that we'll get this next goal, then they got another one because we kept on giving away possession to them all the time in the midfield. Fred was giving away possession, Pereira was giving away possession as well. Them two were just like headless chickens. They didn't know what was going on. They just don't work together. We can see that now, that they just don't work together in the partnership in that midfield. So you can scrap that next week, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We made too many mistakes in that midfield in the first half and at the beginning of the second half. And then once Lingard got going, it was like, right, it took us 72 minutes to get the first goal. But it was great spirit, great fight back to come back. But that's all credit down to the players, and tactically we got it right. Got the right formation in the end of the day, but he started the wrong formation and he shouldn't have done that. He should have just gone with the 4-2-3-1. He should have gone to that instead of pissing around with 5 at the back, 3 defenders. It's not worth it. This is Sheffield United. Yes, they might be a good team, but they're still a shit team. You know, hats off to them, Sheffield. Great game. You have to give all credit to them. They were great on the day, and they pushed us to our limits. Eventually, we came away with a point, and I'll get into that in a minute as well. Second half, we showed great spirit, fight, character. We showed a lot of heart to come back. That's all credit down to Ole, changing it up tactically in the formation as well. It's a shame. It's one of these. We were good, but not good enough. These things happen, and I've pretty much said it all in one go, really. Don't need to really talk about much after that. We were good, but not good enough. The performance was good, but just not good enough going towards it at the end of the game, really. Poor defending. And once again, he pulled off a defender and then brought on another defender. And the thing is, if we would have brought on a midfielder, we could have got after another goal because there was still plenty of time to go. We could have easily got another goal, and that would have been it. That would have been done. I would have been so happy with the 3 points. But we've walked away with a shit draw, a piss poor draw, and I'm not happy with it, to be fair. It was good fight back, but I was disappointed with that first half performance, and I thought the game was wrapped up. At the beginning of the second half, I thought there was no way that we were going to come back into this game. But that's down to the players. They showed real character to come back into the game, changed things up, and it worked. Going towards at the end of the game, we're not good enough, and that's a learning curve for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Can't do that next week for pissing around. Should have just gone to the 4-2-3-1, but wanted to piss around against Sheffield. And like I said in my last video, I said they don't come into these games to piss about. There you go. We nearly got our pants pulled down. That's a lesson learned for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think. Tactically, where did it all go wrong in the first half? I said it just then. He picked the wrong team selection. He picked the wrong formation as well. The whole shape in the team was just wrong. There was no pattern our play whatsoever. Sideward, backwards. We were struggling in the midfield to get the ball up to Rashford, James and Martial, and there was just no creative midfielder. We really struggled until Lingard came on. Everyone keeps slagging off Lingard because he's not having a great season so far. He's not scored a goal or made an assist, and I think when Lingard came on, I think that was the time. I think that was when we had a creative midfielder that came on, really, and that was Lingard. And then he brought on Greenwood. But no, that's where it all just went wrong in that first half. Wrong team selection. It was all wrong. Formation was wrong as well. Didn't need to go 3 at the back. This is Sheffield. We should be attacking, not defending against these lot. It's not we're playing Liverpool or City. It'll be understandable if we were going 3-5-2 against City or Liverpool because they're bigger teams, you know. That'll be understandable. Against teams like Sheffield, you should be beating. You should not be sitting back. We've got to be attacking. That's why, hence, we should have gone with a 4-2-3-1. And if we probably would have gone from the 4-2-3-1 at the start of the game, we would have fucking beaten them. And they know it as well. That's Ollie's fault. That's where it all tactically went wrong in the first half, really. Is it 3 points dropped? For me, I think it's definitely 3 points dropped. I think Sheffield, they're a good team. I know they're a good team. Hats off to Sheffield. They're a great team. Organised. They stick to their game plan and tactics. I know they're a very good team. But if you think about it, they've come from the Championship. I've said it then, they're a good team. Yes, they've come from the Championship, but they're a shit team. It's still a work in progress for them. Chris Wilder, hats off to him. He's done a lot for Sheffield United. He's brought them up through the ranks, but they're still a shit team, Sheffield. We should be beating teams like Sheffield. I said it in my last video, I said we do not want to be dropping points to teams like Sheffield, Bournemouth, Southampton, Watford. We don't want to be dropping points against these teams. And we dropped points. We dropped 2 points. I've actually just realised, is it 3 points dropped? Just realised we've actually dropped 2 points. That goes to show, really. We were in pole position of getting the 3 points, and then we dropped the whole 3 points and we picked up 1 point. This is football, this is life, and we have to move on, onwards and upwards. We were just not good enough towards the end of the game. Have United been robbed of a victory? Now, let's start with this VAR. Now, VAR is getting on my fucking nerves at the minute because they're going on about all this clear and obvious shit and all this da-da-da-da-da, Right. One, we were in pole position of winning this game. We were 3-2 up, and in the closing stages of this game, they scored another goal, and we had another defender on. We should have really had another midfielder on, because if we had another midfielder on, we would have got forward and we would have scored another goal, and that would have been the game wrapped up, finished. The third goal that they scored, it was poor defending, but also it was a handball as well. There's a lot of people saying it wasn't a handball, people saying it's a handball. There's people getting pissed off with this VAR now, and they need to sort it out. And I have to blame this on VAR. They're saying all this clear and obvious shit and stuff like that. And I mean, Jesus Christ, I could be doing better than that as well. My dad thinks it was a handball. I think it's a handball. It's not good enough. I tell you what, who is up there, I do not know. It looks like it's Stevie Wonder up there at the minute, you know. Isn't she love me? Fucking hell. I could do a lot better than this. The VAR, clear and obvious shit, is not good enough at the minute. It's this, that. Liverpool got away with it the other day. I tell you what, this VAR is getting on my tits. They need to get rid of it. It's killing the sport. Just need to get rid of it. We have been robbed of a victory. We're so close with the victory. We gave it away. We brought on another defender, and we should have brought on another midfielder, really, and that would have finished the game. If we would have got another goal, that would have been it, finished. He wanted to go defensive, wanted to see the game out, wanted to grind out the result, but we let them go. Bang, swift, goal. We have been robbed of a victory because of that VAR. I tell you what, Jesus Christ, you cannot defend like that. VAR's not always going to be on our side as well. I tell you what, we were not good enough defensively in this game as well. We were just dreadful. Was it handball? Clear and obvious. It was definitely handball. My dad thought it was a handball. I definitely think it's a handball. My mate Tom thinks it was his shoulder, but they're now saying if you control it with your arm and then it goes to the feet and they score, it's a handball. And that's what he exactly did. It was here. He controlled it on his arm, it went to his feet and he scored it. They're saying if you control it with your hand, it's still a handball because it's up here. If you control it there, put it down to your feet and score, it should be disallowed. And that's what they're saying. That's been given. I tell you what, I don't know who's up there. Like I said before, it looks like Stevie Wonder's up there, or it looks like someone is watching porn. It looks like someone's watching porn up there. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's definitely a handball. It's not good enough. Who stood out in the game? I tell you what, there was not many people that stood out in this game. There was a lot of players in the first half just capitulated. The likes of, don't think Maguire had a good game. Jones didn't have a good game. Wan-Bissaka did not have a good game. Fred Pereira did not have a good game. There was only very little of players that had a good game, and that was the likes of Williams had a good game. When he got going, James had a good game in the end. When he came on off the bench, he made an impact. Greenwood as well. Rashford as well, he was good. He scored a goal as well. So I can't really give anyone the man of the match because we drew this game. There was very little of people really stood out in this game because there was a load of players that were not good enough in this game. And I don't think Martial had a good game either. I think it's going to be important for us now to react in the week to go and beat Astana now, going into Aston Villa, and let's get that winning mentality back. Let's give us that confidence again going back to the Theatre of Dreams next week to Aston Villa. Getting into the goals now. First goal, James goes out on the outside, stands the ball up beautifully, and Williams puts in a cracking goal for 2-1. Second goal, Lingard passed it to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka passed it to Rashford. Rashford puts in a great ball into Greenwood, and Greenwood puts it in for 2-2. Lovely jubbly. Third goal, James passed it to Martial. Martial passed it back to James. James pulls it back to Rashford, and Rashford puts it in for 3-2. Very good goal. Getting into the stats now, possession-wise for Sheffield, it was 40.6%, and for Manchester United, it was 59.4%. In the first half, Sheffield were in control, but then in the second half, we dominated the possession in the end. Goals-wise for Sheffield, they scored 3, and United scored 3 as well. Total shots, Sheffield had 12 shots, and United had 11 shots. Shots on target for Sheffield, they had 8, and for Man United it was 5. Not good enough there. Shot accuracy for Sheffield, it was 66.7%, and for Man United it was 45.5%. Shots inside the box for Sheffield, it was 5, and for Man United it was 7. Shots outside the box for Sheffield, it was 7, and for Man United it was 4. Total passes for Sheffield, it was 383. I'm quite shocked with that. And for Man United, it was 587. Pass accuracy for Sheffield was 72.3%, and for Man United, it was 81.1%. Substitutions: Jones went off for Lingard. Talk about Jones's performance. Pantomime season began early at Bramall Lane. Jones was an agent of chaos, and United's defending was chaotic, deserving blame for the goal. Substituted at half-time. Pereira went off for Greenwood. Talk about Pereira's performance. Against a reluctant and steely side, he predictably reverted to type. Wasteful with the ball and weakly ceded possession for the second substituted. Martial went off for Tuanzebe. Talk about Martial's performance. Was the first to test the backup goalkeeper Simon Moore in the 29th minute. Was a useful figurehead while others did more damage. Onwards and upwards we move on. Next up is Aston Villa. Aston Villa play tonight in Monday Night Football against Newcastle United. Aston Villa are 1 point above relegation. They're not doing too well at the minute, Aston Villa. I think if Aston Villa draw today, they don't have any confidence of going to Manchester United next week, but they will give us a good game though. They will give us a good test and a good game. They know it's going to be a tough place to go to Old Trafford next week. If they draw, they won't be happy with that because they've got another tough game against us next week. If they somehow win, we have got to win in the week against Astana. Get that winning mentality back. Get the confidence back in the team. Let's get the mood up back in the dressing room. And it's all about attacking that game against Aston Villa because they're going to be up for it for sure. They're obviously playing Newcastle. It's 17th versus 14th. But like I said, if it's a draw, they'll have no confidence and they will have no high hope for next week, but they will give us a good game still. They've lost 3 games on the bounce already, Aston Villa. They've lost to Man City, Liverpool and Wolves. At the start of the season, they lost 2 games and then they won their 3rd game of the season. I think for Aston Villa, they've struggled in the Premier League so far. It's been an up-down season for them. It was going a loss, a win, a draw, and then I think it was like a win, a loss, draw, so it's all over the place. They've not been consistent enough so far this season. They're all over the place at the minute, and I think they're struggling to adapt to the Premier League. Yes, Dean Smith has done a lot to the team. He's brought them up. He's done very well to bring them up, but he's got a new team as well. He's brought in the likes of, like I said, Tom Heaton, Matt Targett. He's brought in a couple of players from the Premier League that know the Premier League, but then he's brought in a lot of players abroad as well. It's going to be hard to adapt for these Aston Villa fans this season. I think they'll have just enough to stay up. They are only 1 point above relegation zone, so they're not in great form at the minute. They've lost 3 games on the bounce. They'll want to bounce back and they'll want to get back to winning ways against Newcastle. But Newcastle, they've won 2 games on the bounce already. I think they beat Bournemouth the other week. They beat somebody else, I'm sure they did, but I can't think who it was. For Aston Villa, they're a good team. I think they've just not been consistent enough so far this season. It's been an up-down season for them. But I think they'll still give us a good game next week. I think they'll be up for it. They'll know it'll be a tough place to go to Old Trafford. Dean Smith is going to put out his strongest 11 out there. He's had a lot of players out injured. They're going to probably come back into this game tonight. They're probably not going to be really match fit, not ready yet. So it's going to be a struggle for them, I think, in this game against Newcastle. But I think next week they'll be up for it. They'll be fighting from minute 1 to minute 90. Definitely once that whistle goes, they'll be giving absolutely everything. And they'll make sure that they've got nothing left in the tank. These are upcoming teams. They're good. But I think Aston Villa has showed it this season that they're not good enough. And we have got to take this on board. They're having a knockdown season at the minute. I don't think we've had a knockdown season. Us personally, we've not been consistent enough as well. So this is 2 teams that have not been really consistent enough this season. I think this game, it's going to be all down to the tactics and tactically be ready on the day. It's going to be important that we're physically, mentally prepared. We're coming with a game plan. We come with the tactics. They're going to come with a game plan and tactics. And it's going to be important for us to start quick, create chances and put our goals away. We need to make sure that we have a 1 or 2 few goals in that first half, and then we don't need to do much in that second half really. So then we can just control, dominate and see out the game and grind out a good result. But Aston Villa, if they pick up a result tonight, if they somehow win, we have got to win during the week against Astana. If they draw somehow, they're going to be still low on confidence, but they'll still go to Old Trafford with high hope as well. You don't want to write off up-and-coming teams as well. I think Aston Villa can cause an upset, but in the form they're in right now, possibly not. but you don't want to write them off. They will come with a plan B as well. So I think it's going to be important for us that we balance this team out right. Got to come in with a game plan, got to come in with the tactics, got to be mentally, physically on it, and we've got to prepare well for this game. Ollie needs to pick the right team, put the players in the right positions. He needs to balance the team out right. The structure in the team needs to be right. We need depth in the team, and he needs to select the right formation for the game as well. And we clearly did not do that against Sheffield as well. Also, they've not won against a big team yet. But so far, they've lost to the top 6 teams from last season, and that's Liverpool, City, Arsenal and Tottenham. They've not played Chelsea yet, but they're playing us next week. They've not beaten a top 6 team yet. They're struggling at the minute. They know it's going to be a tough place to go to Old Trafford. If we can pick up the 3 points, it's going to be crucial for us to get up that table as well against these lot. This will be the first meeting in over 3.5 years. This will be the 49th meeting between Man United and Aston Villa. We last played Aston Villa on Saturday the 16th of April 2016. It ended 1-0 to Man United at Old Trafford. And also the players to look out for is Mings, Target, Louise, McGinn, Howie Ghazi, Wesley, Grealish, Jota, Transiget, and also Cottager. Hope you guys have enjoyed another video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you are new. See you guys in a video in the next couple of days, and peace.